And so now that is done, we're ready to make our fstab. So we're going to do /etc/fstab. We actually have to make it by hand instead of using a generating script. So it's not too hard though. So we just want to make our entry for our boot partition. So we're going to the name of the actual. So we start off with the name of the partition itself, where we want to mount it. Then we go tab into what file system we have, which is ext2. And then we need to give it its privileges, which for this one use read and write and rel time will be good. And then it's dump and pass, which are just 0 and 1. Then we're going to do our root partition. This, remember, is ext4, and this one, the default, should be good. 0, 1 again, and then also our home partition, SDC3. This one's also ext4, defaults, 0, 1, and then cannot forget our swap partition, which doesn't get mounted as swap type, and its permission 0, so SW, and this one we do 0, 0 for its pass. So we can right quit out of that. And then mount -A to mount all of those, and since that worked, since nothing happened, that means it worked, which is great. So, yeah. All right. So everything is mounted. So now we're ready to set up the internet. So all we need to do is we need to figure out our interface name. We can use IPA. So as we can see here, we have ENP0S3. All right, and then we also have auto low. So this is our loopback, and this is our actual internet interface. So what we need to do is we're going to, we already have DHCPCD5 installed, which is good. So now we just need to make our interface file. So vim/etc/network/interfaces. All right, cool. And we're good. Here we can just delete all of this. So first we need to make our auto low. What is going on? All right, auto low. And for this one, we'll do iface low and inet loopback. Cool. And then ready to do our auto interface for our actual device. So mine is ENP0S3, and if you're on a VirtualBox, this should be right too. And we want to allow hot plug. We're going to put that on. Allow hot plug for ENP0S3, and then we're going to do iface ENP0S3 inet, and then dynamic host protocol, so DHCP. All right, and so that should work. So we right quit out of there, and now we need to install the actual kernel itself. So first thing we do is find the right kernel, and the way that you can do is apt, that's our package manager, and then search, and we want to search for all of our Linux images. And it's a pretty long file, so I like to just pipe it into a temporary text file. And then we can open that up. And we got all these different possibilities that we could be using. So you want to make sure that you get the right, if you're using an older PC to the older ones, you want to make sure that you're doing, for us, we're doing 686 is important because that's the architecture on our VirtualBox. And we also want to have a stable kernel. So this is the one that we want to use, is RT686PAE stable. So once we have that, we can quit out of here, and then we're going to do apt install, and then we just copy from here. Alright, and now that we have a kernel installed, we can just set our password. Excellent. Easy enough. And then we just need to edit our sources list. So we're going to do vim/etc/apt. Probably should have done this before we installed the kernel. Maybe that's not possible. This is how I've always done it. So once we open up our sources list, we go underneath here and we just need to add an entry for security measures. We're going to do a deb and then http//security in, and then Buster. So this is for our security updates. Main. Unpause, and then we also want dev-src, and this one cool. So we got our sources updated. Yeah. Alright then, so at this point you've not updated your bash rc. This you definitely want to. So we're gonna vim//bash rc. We're gonna go to the end here and we want to say export path equals /usr/sbin, and then $. Oh no, $$ path. Right quit, and then we need to source our bash rc. Well, I know we're ready to install grub. And so we're actually going to install grub2 with LVM2. The reason why we're doing this is grub2 is more modern and it works better with Debian, and LVM is what our Arch system is on. So we're actually going to be installing grub2 and passing the baton so that Debian with grub2 is running the whole show rather than grub1 with Arch Linux first. And we want to install an SDA and SDC because that is where those are the respective hard drives that hold our root partitions for Arch and Debian. Alright, and then we need to run our update grub command. This is the one that actually needs the sbin to be part of our path because it subsequently calls several scripts. Alright, and so if everything worked out, we should be able to exit and shut down and then reboot into a Debian, into our Debian operating system. Excellent here. So Arch Linux disappears, but that's because it's a simple fix. We just, since we transferred the baton, Debian now needs to discover Arch Linux in a clean situation, not when it is mounted within Arch Linux. So, right, let it set up, then we log in as our root. Well, and we're just going to do another update grub. And this time it should discover the Arch Linux system. There we go, found Arch Linux. Excellent. So now if we reboot, we should be able to see both systems, and they should both be bootable. Alright, look, so we got Debian and we got Arch Linux. So we know Debian works. Let's just make sure we didn't break anything on Arch. Excellent. So now we have a dual booted system. Pretty bare bones. Still needs to generate locales, add new users, so on and so forth. But at least we got 2 operating systems on there. So that'll be all for now. See you next time.